How does it look, Daniel?
Abby, I see we're at 5:30. Okay to start?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're ready to go.
Thank you. And for the first time, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So excited about that. If you'd please stand, and Bryce Chisholm, if you'd start us out. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Abby, if you would, I'm calling us to order. If you do a roll call
Yes, Mr. Chair. Gary Cecil,
here.
Carol Crane, Bryce Chisholm,
Here.
Jeff Harvey,
Here.
Council Liaison, Councilmember Kathleen Taylor, and Staff Liaison Abigail Mayorga, present. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum of the Ward 5 Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. And going on to number 3, public comment. Abby, do you have to give a preamble to this?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first item today, or third item today, is public comment. Members of the public may hear, observe, and provide public comment virtually by registering through the following link, which can be found on the reno.gov/meetings portal. The link is as follows: https://reno.gov/3 It should be noted for those in attendance that comments are to be addressed to the board as a whole. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the agenda. The board may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name and you will be afforded 3 minutes. At this time, Mr. Chair, we haven't received any public comment. If you would like to give public comment, now would be the time. Seeing none in person and none online, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Abby. Moving on to number 4, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any comments? Requests for changes? Got to hear a motion?
Chisholm, I'll approve the agenda.
I second that.
Thank you. And all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. I hope you got to look at the minutes for the January 9th meeting, our last meeting. Would somebody like to move to approve those?
I make a motion to approve the previous.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No. Okay, the minutes are approved. Councilwoman Taylor, the floor is yours. Thanks for coming tonight. I know you had a meeting this afternoon. You've got one tomorrow. So this is the fun one.
This is my favorite one. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilwoman Taylor, for the record. First of all, Wanted to thank you so much for your work on your project. Gary, or Mr. Chair came to council and presented and gave us an update, and we approved it unanimously. So thank you so much for your hard work on that. I'm so excited. And I'm hoping that we can get other NABs to follow in our footsteps. But keep you posted on that. We start our budget workshops next week. So I'm thinking my priorities are going to be very similar to what they were last time, which is downtown enforcement teams and seeing about our parks, how we can get some more resources for that. We're also going to see the downtown business improvement district coming in April with some changes too. Let's see, the Axe, it's not a nightclub, but the Axe business that you guys heard at the NAB, we received an appeal, and that will be coming to us on March 27th to council. And the Sierra Street Bridge project is having a public meeting. RTC is hosting that on Thursday, March 21st at McKinley Arts Center. I think it starts at 4 to 7 p.m. or 5 to 7 p.m., but you can find that on their website. Another very cool thing that only you guys are hearing because it just happened last night is I work with the special events, the special events committee, and we allocated around $200,000-ish for FY24 and 25 to be approved by council. But there are so many very cool special events, new special events that are going to be coming to downtown. Hopefully if council approves it. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. That's what I have. Questions, comments?
Thanks are due to you for that project. That was a really interesting experience in many, many ways. And if you hear of any of your colleagues that want to hear any experiences that we had to share with their NAB members, let us know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're very cheap.
Just pizza, maybe?
That's right. Okay, moving on to item 7, staff liaison report. Anything for us, Abby?
Yes, I do have a couple updates or reminders. The first being, I know that we briefly talked about. Did we talk about February? I don't think I got to do my update for you guys with the community champions. Does that sound familiar? Okay, I'll pull it up right now. But I do want to let you guys all know that the spring community cleanups that the city of Reno does in partnership with the council members will be occurring again. So those dates, times, and locations will be posted shortly to provide, the opportunity for residents and participants to get rid of some waste that they may have along in their households. So that will be you'll see that on social media, and we'll have a full update regarding dates, times, and locations in the next meeting, or I'll shoot an email so you guys can all share to your contacts. Okay, and let me pull up Community Champions because I wasn't ready for that one. So this is a new initiative that started recently within the city. It's called Community Champions. This is a program that is aimed at increasing engagement, connection, and civic pride within the city of Reno. It's a way to kind of highlight the unsung heroes in your community, not necessarily the, nonprofit president or anything like that, but maybe a community member who goes to all these cleanups or whatever it may be. So it's their opportunity to be recognized by the NAB. So this is where you can go and nominate them. The nominations will come to the Ward 5 NAB quarterly. Anyone can nominate anyone. So I could nominate Tristan and be like, wow, he does all this great work in the community. I think he should really be highlighted. So this form is pretty simple. You'd just go to nominate the person. You'd fill out the information, the nominee information to your best of your ability. You don't obviously have to have their address, and just how they support, lead, or inspire other individuals. And then after that, we'll review the applications, bring them to the NAB for your guys' input. We'll invite the nominee as well. And then it will be up to the NAB and the council member to recommend the nomination either for approval or denial, which depends on that. And then the nominee will get a swag bag from the city of Reno and be highlighted on the social media page every quarter. So it's just a great way to, again, highlight those unsung heroes of the community. Perfect. And that's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Abby. That sounds like a great idea. Like, I've already got like 3 names in the back of my head somewhere, so.
That's great.
Okay, moving on to, we have just a fairly short agenda tonight, but 2 business items, 2 very important ones. The first one, quarterly update for the Reno Fire Department. Good evening, sir. Thanks for coming.
Good evening. Mr. Chair, Paul Pataka, Reno Fire Department, Battalion Chief. There's some exciting things that are happening in the Reno Fire Department recently. We've got 27 new recruits in the Fire Academy. It just started a couple weeks ago. They're going to be 19 weeks in, and I want to say it's the middle of June or so that they'll be able to come out on the line and have some experience from the academy and whatnot. We also have a new downtown fire station in the planning process, a larger headquarters station that's going to be built on the same site as where the current police station is. So after they move out of that building and get to the Reno Gazette building, then they're gonna work the plans and do all the construction and whatnot for that to take care of it, probably in the next 3 years, projected potentially. Also, we've been hiring single role medics, which is new for the fire department. So they're paramedics and advanced EMTs that come to us and work on ambulances for the city of Reno. And they've been providing service in District 2, 3, and in District 6 for the last well over 6 months now. And it's worked out really well to have those folks down there helping the community and provide a better service. That's it. That's all I got. Any questions?
Any questions from the board members? Carol? Right. I had just a quick question about I saw the meeting in January of the council, and you're going to coordinate the administrative and the fire station in that central location?
Yes, in that the central location is going to have all of administration, all of fire prevention, as well as 3 individual companies. So probably 2 engines and a ladder truck down there. But that's all still in the planning phases and whatnot. So
But the general commitment is there, which is exciting.
yes, absolutely. It's there. It's super exciting, to have a brick and mortar station downtown, back when we had it before the ball stadium got here, and it'll be nice to have one back again. It'll be wonderful for the community in the area.
We, knowing that downtown's going to grow, we
Absolutely.
hope so, continue to thrive. That's such great news to have that downtown. It really is. And we're
Certainly.
very excited about that. Hope there'll be some input from the public that'll have a chance to kind of weigh in and understand better what a good move that is, I think.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
great. Just one final thing. I have a couple of grandchildren that love coloring books, and I couldn't help but just compliment on the activity book for Boston the Arson Dog.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a real dog,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
He's a lab,
absolutely.
right?
What's that?
He's a lab, I think.
Yeah,
a black lab.
he's a black lab.
Yeah.
He's been with us for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Inspector O'Brien is Investigator O'Brien. He's the
Yeah.
one that works with the dog. He goes out to arson fires and goes out to public events all over the place. He's the main attraction wherever he goes.
No wonder. But I mean, I didn't even know that. I mean, you hear about canine and they
Mhm.
look dead bodies or decomposing material, but these dogs are trained to be able to differentiate like flammable materials and things like that.
Yes, flammable liquids,
Uh-huh.
things that gasoline, kerosene, they can hit on a flammable liquid itself and differentiate between that and, let's say, a different other type of liquid that could not start a fire.
That's wonderful.
That's the difference. It's pretty impressive. It really is.
And this is good too, by the way. I love it when you involve children, get them involved at an early age, thinking about safety and things like this.
Yes,
It's so
absolutely.
very important, especially for the folks that live further out, even maybe where there could be more fire danger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for whoever did that. I thought it was a
I
great
can't-
idea.
I can't take credit for any of that coloring book stuff, but I know that all the ones with Boston are the ones that seem to go the fastest.
That's great. Well, thanks for coming tonight, Paul. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it's great that they're building that new station downtown. I was just wondering if that means they're gonna close like the 4th Street or the Grand Sierra.
So I would, this is pure speculation, but I would imagine the station at Fourth and Valley would be closed at that point.
Okay.
And those rigs would move, that engine, ladder truck and squad, would move over to the new downtown station.
They're so
It's
close
just a
together, I
couple-
would
yeah,
think.
It's just a couple blocks away and,
Yeah.
you know, with the increased call volume we're anticipating having in the downtown corridor in the area, I would imagine that they would add an engine as well. But that remains to be seen still, so.
I just remember the Grand Sierra one was always built as a temporary, right?
Yeah, that one and the one at Fourth and Valley, they're
Yeah.
built as temporary structures, but they've been there for a really long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
funding and such. right?
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, at least you're getting something, a
Yes.
new one now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's nice.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting to have something like that come along.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Moving on to.
Oh,
Crazy person.
Hi, Mickey, did I do something wrong?
Your mic was off. That's all.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Mickey Huntsman, the city clerk for the city of Reno. Is my clicker good? Thank you for giving me some time today. This has been a long time coming. We started doing these back in November of last year. And so between, I think, sickness and travel and holidays, here I am in March. So thank you for having me. This is you just sitting here watching. I have to commend you. You all are running your meetings very well. This is set up to create an environment for younger boards or newer boards so that they kind of have an understanding of how the boards are run, the processes that the ways in which we should be conducting our meetings, and why we conduct the meetings the way that we do. So forgive me, some of this is going to be a bit repetitive. It seems that you all are doing a fantastic job. But if you do have any questions as we get to the end, please feel free to ask questions. And also, excuse me, because I am very tired. We're doing candidate filings, so I'm just like I'm turned on constantly throughout the day. So if I stumble, just know that it's been a couple of long days for me. Okay, so this is just an overview. What are NABs? What is Robert's Rules of Order? Why do we use them? What is open meeting law? And then finally, we're going to close out with other provisions that you guys should be aware of as board and commission members. So NABs are governed and created through the resolution number 8342. This is probably version 4 or 5 that has been amended throughout the years. There's the board is created and appointed by council members to serve within the neighborhoods that either they live or work. So you are not required to be a resident of that ward. You're just required to be a resident of the city of Reno. And then a lot of times on some of the boards, what you will see is that I don't live there, but I do work there. So I have a vested interest in kind of what happens in that community. So there are a lot of appointments that kind of happen in that space. It is consisted or created for 11 members and 2 alternates. We're a couple members shy here, but that's okay. And then just like all of our other boards and commissions, we are governed by NRS 241, which is open meeting law. So that's how we have the agendas posted. That's how we conduct the meetings openly so that we can have public comment, those types of things. We do follow Robert's Rules of Order, which is just the way that we conduct ourselves during the meetings. You all are supposed to conduct meetings in alignment with Chapter 2.20 of the Charter, which is the Code of Ethics for Public Officials. And finally, this is really just to serve as a forum for the city and the community. So this is where the community can come forward and say, hey guys, this is what's happening in our neighborhood. We really care about it. Can you guys take an advisement to your council member and say, this is really how we feel. We do or don't want this project. We do or don't want to work on this park, so on and so forth. So really you are sort of the bridge between community to council member to make advisements so that they can come to council and have a more educated decision about what the community around them is feeling or thinking. So we sort of just covered that, right? So you're the facilitators of the communication. You're really here so that when big projects or things are coming forward, you guys can look at them and go out into the community and get more input and provide education to your council member. And then lastly, it's just that public venue for your constituency to be able to make comments about the quality of life or the quality of life of their business. So what is Robert's Rules of Order? At least according to Google, it is the process of making decisions in a motion. The ability to have deliberation, to go through that deliberation, and then finally ending somewhere with that motion and a vote. How do you conduct an efficient meeting using Robert's Rules of Order? So this is sort of broken down into two spaces, and it's important just because in order for there to be cohesiveness and consistency in a meeting, really the board members should serve on one side, and we expect that the members of the public sort of serve on that other side. So I'm not going to go through all of them. Again, I think this board seems to function in a very peaceful and well-managed nature. So I don't feel a need to kind of go over these. And we are fortunate enough to have a public, a majority of the time, who is in alignment with what we're doing. And so there are very few moments in time where we have to really engage our members of the public to remind them that we serve in this space. Formalities. So again, y'all are doing it in a really great way. We should be addressing Mr. Chair as Mr. Chair or Madam Chair if Ms. Crane ever takes that position. And then ideally, in most situations, we would also, the chair would be the one that sort of announces or allows members to speak. In this format, it just ensures that, especially for our minute takers or for the official record, that there is a very clear-cut path of who is speaking when. And then also that when we take motions, it gives us the opportunity to accurately record kind of what that final motion in Robert Rules of Order asks for. So as Abby mentioned, there's been kind of a revisement for our agendas. There is a reason for that, and it is for this. It is to make sure that we are conducting our meetings with a clear order of business. And because of that, you will see a standardized version, the Pledge of Allegiance, call to order, roll call, public comment, so on and so forth. So in open meeting law, which we're about to get into, we're required to do public comment twice as an example, at the start of the meeting and at the end of the meeting. We're required to call a meeting to order. If there's public noticing, we're required to open those in a certain format. And so when we have a very clear order of business, that allows us to conduct meetings efficiently. So I went over this just a minute ago, but in most settings, you would ask the chair for the floor, and they would need to acknowledge you to speak. Again, I don't see you guys speaking over each other, but a lot of times that is that formality to ensure that you have the open floor to be able to state your comments or your opinions. In this space, making a motion, you can see there are 3 steps for making a motion. It should be stating that you are asking for the floor to be able to make the motion, stating the motion clearly, and then secondly, having a seconder, and then the vote on the motion. So again, a very clear path. So what is open meeting law? Open meeting law is governed by Nevada Revised Statutes 2.241.010. And why is this important? Because this is to ensure that the public knows exactly what you all are going to be speaking about, so that if they're interested in either tuning in via Zoom or coming to a meeting and making a comment, that they have the ability and they can understand exactly what it is that you're talking about and they can be present. Nothing happens in a vacuum, and we understand that in public, but I think in it being public servants, but in the public, I think a lot of times there is a perception that things happen behind closed doors, or that we aren't out here having the conversations and allowing them to have an opinion. And we know that because we follow 241.010, that we have to do it that way. We can't make decisions. We can't set policies. We can't spend money without coming before a public body and asking them to do so. So your council member just brought up that we're going into budget discussions. If you haven't participated in them, Mr. Chair, I know that you are very active in our budget season. And so, I think it is a good opportunity for the constituency to engage. If nothing else, that is the most important job that our council members have, is to figure out how to spend the money of the city, where that money should be allocated. And so I would say, if you are interested in being a public servant, if you're interested in government, that is the place to start. We have to talk about it openly. We have to have the conversation, and we encourage the comments from the public to come forward at that time, because really, again, that is the most important job that a council member has. Okay, so on this one, the things to notice is on your agendas in front of you. If ever there is something that you will be voting on, it has to be labeled per open meeting law as for possible action. If it's just for discussion or just for presentation, it's the same. It has to be labeled as for information only or for presentation only. The reason this matters is if you are taking an action on an item, if there is going to be an actual vote, there has to be an opportunity for the public to have an opinion on that. The reason is if there is a deliberative process happening, the public should be able to influence you in some sort of space. And so they need to know this is an influential item, I get to have a say in it, or this is just something for them to be noodling around about for a potential decision to be made at some point in the future. Thank you. Again, a quorum is required to take an action. So it's a majority of the body in most situations. So even though there are 11 members on your NAB, the majority of the body would be 3 of the 4 of you have to be here in order for you to hold a meeting. So it just depends on the size of the body, but it's just a majority of the members that are appointed. This is a good one, and I think one that we don't talk about often, especially at the board level. So something that we talk a lot about is, as associated with open meeting law, is how do we talk to each other when we're not here? So one of the things that comes up a lot is serial communication. You may not realize that you have a quorum, but you are communicating together as a group about a thing. And if that is true, then it should be publicly noticed, and you would need to make sure that there is an opportunity for the public to participate in that. That could be as small as like an email chain or a text chain. It could be as large as you all getting together offsite to have a conversation about policy decision that isn't engaging with the public. So those are types of things that we don't think about because we're not here and we're not doing a formalized agenda and we're not doing these things. But anytime we get together to talk about a policy decision, that's considered serial communication. So anytime that there's more than 2 of you getting together to talk about something associated with the NAB, just be aware that there is a potential quorum there that is existing. And so in theory, that would need to be noticed. So what will happen is a walking quorum, a serial quorum, all of those things kind of go in together. The one that you will see at the very bottom that does not count would be sort of a social gathering. So I know last year we had, or a few years ago when Councilmember Taylor was appointed, we had a series of appointment events where individuals could come and meet the potential appointees. In that setting, even though if all 4 of you were to show up, because it is a social setting and you are not making decisions as an advisory capacity to a person, or you're not making decisions about policy, that's not considered a quorum. So a social gathering or a social event or something where you are all in the same room, as long as you're not sitting down formally talking about a policy, that wouldn't be considered. If you're attending a training, if I were to hold this separate of this meeting and just do a training with you all, that wouldn't be considered a quorum. But again, it gets down to the point where you are actually talking about a decision or a policy that would impact potentially an advisement that you're taking to your council member. So we also went over this. It's been a while since I've done this presentation, obviously, but per NRS, you have to have a public comment opening the meeting and closing the meeting. And then again, for any items that are open for discussion or decision. All of our agendas across the state have to be posted at least by 9 a.m. 3 working days prior to the meeting being held. So we have a city council meeting tomorrow. So our council agenda had to be posted on Friday morning by 9 a.m. And there is a state website, and then there's also physical locations that we are required as a public body to post at in order to make sure that we're touching the entire public. Most people don't know this, but you can take an item off of an agenda once it's been posted, but you have to do it during the meeting. And then you all know that minutes are public, and that correspondence, if there is any, becomes public. So again, if somebody writes in a comment, if they email it in, if they call Abby and leave a voicemail, you can choose to transcribe it or play it live. But any comments that are made that, again, are going to impact deliberation per open meeting law are required to be published or provided to the public as well as the body at the same time. I thought that there was one more about public records, but apparently, again, it's been a long time. So the last thing that I'll just add is that while you're serving in a personal capacity, you are also representing the city of Reno when you're sitting on the bench and that you are making decisions. And so just remember that open meeting, public records requests do apply to you too. So if you are sending emails in your capacity as an Ward 5 appointee, if somebody were to submit a public records request that said, hey, I want everything that the Ward 5 NAB, any emails from any Ward 5 NAB member, I want those to be provided to me. If you're doing that in your public capacity, what would happen is I would reach out to you and say, hey, Mr. Chair, we've received a public records request for emails that you have written, both on your personal email or on communication with Councilmember Taylor associated to topic X. Can you go through your emails? And if you have any of those, I would need a copy of them. So there is case law that states that if you are a person but working in a capacity that is serving a public body, even though it's your personal email, it's still subject to public records. So just keep that in mind. The statement that we kind of live and breathe by is if you don't want your emails, text messages published on the front page of the RGJ or This Is Reno, keep it up, keep it above shore. But that's it. So it's just a reminder. I don't know that a lot of our board members know that your records that when you are working in this capacity are considered public records. So just keep that in mind. And that's it. That's all I've got for you guys today.
Thank you, Mickey. Let me ask, are there any questions from the board members?
I thought you did very well on that, so. Yeah. I think I knew most of that, but it's always good to have a refresher. Thank you.
This is Jeff Harvey. This is Jeff Harvey. Yeah, it was good reminders. In terms of the serial meetings, we've been reminded by that by our own staff. So I think meetings are being run really well from my perspective. So
I agree. Our liaisons are fabulous. We are so lucky to have them. So I know that they help to keep everything in order and they make sure that everything is in alignment with OML all the time.
So just one clarification question to add to that. Gary Cecil for the record.
Thank you.
If I wanted to share information pertaining to a future item to the board members in an email, it would be best to send it through our community liaison and then she would disseminate it.
That is
for
true.
us. But we
So-
shouldn't do the back and forth kind of thing.
Correct. So what will happen is that triggers a discussion. And so a lot of times that then starts a walking quorum or a serial communication quorum. So yeah, I would always recommend if you have thoughts or opinions that you would like to share prior to the meeting, get them to Abby and Abby knows how to distribute that out to the other board members so that she can kind of collect all the thoughts and provide them to you at one time.
Okay, this is a minor one. I know you're addressed as Madam Clerk. Is it Madam Community Liaison? Will we
Let's do it.
do that?
No,
Madam
please don't do
Community
that. No.
Liaison.
No, thank you.
Abby's okay.
I'm down. I'm just going to do it all the time now. Thank you, madam.
Go home and get some rest. Thank you so much, Mickey. We
Got
appreciate
one
it.
more.
Oh, one
And
more.
then I'm gonna-
Sorry,
Chairman.
over to you, bro.
I was just wondering about the serial quorum because it says a quorum of a public body. So if Gary had emailed me, that's not really a quorum. So that wouldn't pertain.
Correct. So if it's one-on-one, so I think the serial communication happens, let's say that Mr. Chair had sent out an email to all four of you. And then a communication chain kind of started from there and everyone just sort of bopping back and forth. That would be serial communication. But yes, if Mr. Chair had sent an email specifically to you and then one specifically to Mr. Harvey and then one to Member Crane, that wouldn't necessarily occur. It's more so when all of you are on the same chain. So internally, a way that we will avoid that is we will send one email and blind copy the members to ensure that there isn't an opportunity for everyone to start a conversation with each other. It's just back with that main member. And then that helps us to kind of limit that opportunity for a walking or a serial quorum communication.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mickey. Maybe one day we'll have 11 people and then we'll really have to be careful, right? But thank you
Careful
seriously.
what you ask for.
Appreciate your time
Maybe
very much.
Madam Community Liaison has enough to manage because you're a handful. I don't know. Thank you.
Moving on to item C, Board Commission committee member reports and announcements. Any of the members have anything to bring to our attention?
Yeah. I just know that there's Bryce Chisholm for the record, and there's several surveys that the city wants us to take. So I've seen about the Barbara Bennett Park and Wingfield Park, and then there's also an arts one going around right now. So try to find those.
Thank you. Yes, those have been put out. I think they're being circulated, but it's nice to always have plenty of reminders of the public for sure. Thank you. Item D, future agenda items. Abby, I didn't keep a record of ones that have been suggested before. Do you have any follow-ups for us on any of those that we previously requested?
I don't have any follow-ups, Mr. Chair. I know that we were looking at post the project to see implementation of the monies that you guys allocated. So we're working on getting that process and getting with Anna Elizabeth. So maybe in a couple months to get her back and see how it's impacted and get those numbers and stuff. So that's the one that I recall.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Does any other board member have any items to add for the future agendas? Abby, a couple of things I mentioned before, and I think they're coming closer to fruition, is Title 18, Titles 4 and 5. I know they're moving down the pathway towards some changes, the cleanup of Title 18. And 4 and 5 are of particular interest to downtown residents as they relate to some of the issues that we have in terms of entertainment. So if there's any updates that Lance or anybody else in development services at a point where they think it's worth doing, that would be very helpful.
Got it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Second public comment opportunity. Is there anybody in the room that wishes to make a public comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have received 2 in-person public comments. The first will be Sheila Browning.
Hello. For the record, my name is Sheila Browning Peugeot. And today I officially filed for the open Ward 5 seat on Reno City Council. So, Mr. Chair and members of the Ward 5 Neighborhood Advisory Board, I'm here to introduce myself to this body because I hope we'll get to work together closely over the next few years. So to give you a little bit of an idea of my background, my husband is a proud naturalized American of French origin, and my son is a senior at Worcester High School, and my daughter is an 8th grader at Clayton Middle School. We've lived in Reno since 2005 when we moved here so that I could take a position at the UNR Reynolds School of Journalism. I taught courses like media ethics, principles of American journalism, and race, gender, and media. I've been a Peace Corps volunteer, a Fulbright scholar, and a professor at the American University in Cairo. I've also been a civics instructor in Washington, D.C. So as you can see, I've dedicated my career to promoting American small d democratic values, and I'm looking forward to helping to build a better Reno. I'm running to bring my 3 core values to Reno City Council. The first is transparency and ethics, because I believe that democracy depends on open meetings, public records, and meaningful public input. And so I really enjoyed Ms. Huntsman's presentation because it's all of those things. And I also believe that every public penny should be spent for the public good. My second core value is commitment to service. So if elected, I will serve the full 4-year term. I will not run for quote unquote higher office, and I won't pursue other employment opportunities. And if other council members resign, I'll call for elections to replace them rather than appointments because I believe that nothing is more transparent than an election. And finally, I believe that we can build together a healthy community and a healthy environment, one that works for everyone, with happy human places like well-resourced parks and pools, safe streets, accessible housing, clean air and water, and healthy food systems. In closing, I want to really sincerely thank all of you for showing up and doing the unglamorous work of getting things done in local government. And I look forward to getting to know all of you and working together with you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheila. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Up next, we have Mac Rossi.
Mac Rossi, for the record, after following that, mine's a gossip column, as simple as that. Just a couple of things I thought you might be interested in. Paradise Park, they have a new, if you go down Audi, they have a new playground there that's, the city's plunked in about $500,000 in, that is really going to build the park up. Looks good. We also have, I'm with a group that's sent a grant out to also get the seniors out of that park and out onto the field. There's going to be, we hope, a bocce ball court, shuffleboard, and horseshoes. I don't want to take any thunder away from Nathan, our park director, but to let you know that the park, the pool, the Moana pool is on schedule and looks like it's going to open August 23rd. And if you haven't had an opportunity to see it or just drive by, it's wow. I happen to be with the group that was doing the art for the pool, and they had 120, I believe, applicants. About a third of them were from Reno. Unfortunately, the final 5 all came from out of town, out of the state, excuse me. And one real neat one that won was this lady that builds this big glass objects with all kinds of color in it. They hit a light on it and the light puts the color onto the wall, and it's really spectacular. So, and that was the tune of about 650,000. The government, not the city, plunked into that one. I'm on with a group of a few people and myself for a couple of things on North McCarran. One of them is 7th Street and North McCarran. Another one is Keystone and McCarran. And another one is on Las Brisas and Karen. And I know you and Miss Crane drive that area. And when you come down to Las Brisas, you kind of close your eyes, hit the gas, and hope you can get over to the left into North McCarran. As of the 6th of this month, unfortunately, because of the weather, it's been canceled. They're putting the signal in. So jackpot on that. Keystone and McCarran, where the 800 apartments are up on the hill that can come down and only make a right-hand turn. This summer, there's a signal going in there. So we're getting 2 out of 4 right now. Not to take any thunder away from our parks director, pickleball, which I'm also involved in, or was, they've allocated quite a bit of money to go towards Mariloma Park. And they're going to redo that. And it looks like it's going to be tennis, but also geared for pickleball. And if you haven't noticed, I have a T-shirt from the Reno. Our Parks Department, as the part I'm of, is not as cheap as the NAB, and they gave us shirts. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, except for that last comment, thank you. That's very good. No, seriously, thank you for all the information and the time you put in. I know you do a lot of work. Thanks so much, Mac. Okay, any other public comment?
None in person, Mr. Chair, and seeing none on Zoom.
Okay, then I will ask if there's a motion, please, for adjournment.
Jeff Harvey, for the record, I make a motion.
Bryce Chisholm, I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay? No nays? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.